I was also trying to remember. I was like, how did we start these before? But obviously, we just kind of got into it.
I think we just chatted. Well, yeah. Tell me about your
I have
week.
been wondering how to open up, how to start, be like, what could be the most annoying? Because I have Dax Shepard in my head being like,
oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, we can't do that. What
So that's what I'm going to use. No. I am personally so glad we have our time back. Because I think it has been funny that and you still have been calling me and we've still been talking about stuff in real time, but there are definitely life updates that we're like,
oh yeah,
wait, let's talk about this. But also I want to talk about it for the first time
because it's content
on the podcast. But then I also feel like, is this affecting our relationship? I feel like we should have, there needs to be some advice about this.
That's true.
Because obviously, as we become wildly famous, I don't want to lose track of who we are as
stay humble, baby,
friends, and colleagues, and soul sisters.
No.
But also along the way, I want to not talk to you because I'm like, wait, I really need to tell
I simply
you
can't answer your phone call right now because this is content. So next scheduled one-on-one is April.
That
13th.
Can't be good. That can't be good.
No.
But what have we been doing? We've talked to a lot of people.
We talked to so many people. Some emotionally, like, beautiful, charged, and exciting conversations.
Yes.
Which is really fun.
We've had Sai. It was amazing. We've had April. We have Tina. I was trying to look back on the three of them in aggregate, and I was like, something about the thing around identity. And I was thinking about all of them are just like out there building and creating things. And then I was thinking about that and how they've also created life, and now they're creating these businesses and brands, and how all of their businesses and brands are so attached to their own identity. And then I was thinking about how maybe there's this quest for identity, and obviously many of them have been starting these things, or not all of them, but many started these maybe a little bit before kids. But is there a different urgency in this need to like express your identity through your work? To kind of remind and solidify that like there is this other, I am holy mother, but holy with a WH. I am the holy mother. They are fully beautiful, happy, wise mothers, and also have other parts of their identity that I think can't fully be expressed within that context. And so if they're going to be working, they want to use that space, because we don't have enough time for anything, as an expression of who they are. Yeah. And I was thinking about that with April's business and Sai's, but I think Sai's business even maybe most explicitly, the branding of it and the philosophy behind it being very aligned to an important part of her sense of self. April's also in this like creative expression. And I think Tina also, I love that it turned out that her skill set is all about being like an excellent mother.
Yeah. And then empowering others to see that within themselves. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's so cool, as we've explored even before this podcast, how I think identity really matters to me. And that's not, many people don't think about it as much. It's more like it's
what
just an
percentage of your brain would you say it takes up?
Yes. Yeah. Whatever it is about me, my existence can't just be defined as in how I relate and help others. There has to be something that was sort of like being a mother is something that is true because of the other people that are doing it with me. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be a mother if I didn't have kids. Arguably, you can be unconventional mother and take on a motherly role, but I think, what is it that I am that doesn't require anyone else? Yeah. Except obviously in this, we need the two people that are listening to this podcast to keep listening to it. Just kidding. They're way more than two.
It's definitely more than two. Yeah.
Just
like
kidding.
This episode if you've listened to it. Thank you.
Yes. Like and subscribe. But yeah, wait, what have you taken away? Are you carrying things forward from these combos?
Yeah. Are you getting absolutely anything from evolving? This or no?
Yeah, exactly. Well, is this working for you?
Yes. And I think that I feel very differently about identity and the need for it, and like finding my purpose. I feel like I'm much more like fluid about many things and
Yeah.
about many things in my life, but particularly identity, because I don't know, I feel like I have find and reach purpose without that, and I've had more of
Yeah.
an untraditional path with a lot of things. And so putting that pressure on myself, I feel like there's been stages of my life in which I've tried to do that, and then it ends up just not being the way that like I work. Um but I love hearing other people's stories about their discovery. And I feel like I hear little bits that I'm like, oh, that's very similar to me, or that resonates with me, or that inspires me. It's been so fun to listen to people's unusual paths or like unexpected journeys and paths, and how
Yeah.
like similar to, I guess, my experience, I feel like so many opportunities in my life have come up unexpected and naturally and organically. And I feel like that's how so many of these stories, like Tina and
Yes.
Sai and April, all of it was like, oh, I was working with this person and then it inspired me to do this, or I saw an opportunity for this. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that does work. And that
Yeah.
is, I don't know. So that's been really exciting and
Yeah.
inspiring to hear.
Yes.
And
I
like
agree.
fuels me, gives me energy to be like,
Yes. Yes. And it is really nice because often you see or hear stories that make it seem like there was an intentional, and of course you kind of theoretically know that this couldn't have been true, but it
right,
seems like there was some master plan behind it. And of course we
right.
did this to get to this. And I think a lot of their stories were in some ways a little more creative than that,
Mm-hmm.
where they were constantly kind of assessing their circumstance and
Yep.
what they wanted to be doing, who they were at the time, what success looked like. They're kind of making the most of every moment.
Yeah.
And which was always building towards something, because it really always can be building towards something. I actually
Yep.
think April, as much as I think in some ways nobody wanted to be talking about Miss Massachusetts, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really amazing for her to say how that experience that was done on a whim/bet
Yeah.
actually was helpful to propelling her jewelry business forward.
Yeah.
And this idea of these like moments of risk and
Yeah.
like doing the thing that's unexpected. I will even say my jump from Google without an obvious next thing, even though I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I would probably figure it out, but what didn't have the next thing,
Yeah.
how much that kind of action opens up things as opposed to closes them. And I think trying to get to a place where you feel safe, comfortable, confident, doing these slightly risky things really does open up. Something happens energetically in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The process of living life and taking action and doing things
Mm-hmm.
creates more opportunities, creates points of connection, just makes you think differently about stuff.
Yeah.
Like it just does. And I do think that's something that becomes maybe harder once you have kids to be.
Yeah. 100%.
Because so much of the your goal is consistency and stability, which
Yeah.
can be paralyzing to your own individual sense of risk and
Yeah.
whether it's entrepreneurial
Recognizing
or otherwise.
those choices now impact other people, not just you. When I was
Yeah.
younger, it was easy to say, I'm just going to move to California because that's what I'm going to do right now. And who knows what's going
Right.
to happen. Now it's like, well,
Right.
you can't just up and leave or
Totally.
whatever. Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, they've all been very wise and also just very brave and candid with us. I really appreciate that. And then I should say there are more than 2 people that are listening to us, and all 3 of them have been texting me and telling me that they really like
Sarah.
it. No, I'm just kidding.
That was funny.
No, people, this is heartwarming.
Such great feedback.
People really are.
Yeah.
The idea of like, I feel seen by what I'm hearing, and thank you for having this conversation. I also love that people are saying like, it also feels smart.
Mm-hmm.
It hits different than the typical dialogue around motherhood so far, and that people feel validated and seen and sort of like held by the nature of the conversations that we're having is awesome. And the fact that we can do that without being on, like, that we can do that sort of at scale in some way is really cool.
Yeah. Also the people who don't have children and it still resonates with them. They say that, oh, I've learned something about my partner, or I'm able to reflect on growing up, or, you know, my parents, whatever. That has
1,000%
also been even more.
The dudes, the dads, the fathers, the non-baby generating
non-fathers?
groups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody.
We've gotten some truly unexpected feedback, people looking back and being like, wow, I realize I could have shown up differently before, or I should have, and then thinking about how they show up or how they help their adult kids show up. Yeah, that has been that was very unexpected. Thank you for remembering that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And you're right. People that don't even have kids, they find us entertaining and maybe educational.
I know that's right. Absolutely get it. Okay. Give me the
life
any
updates.
Life updates. Funny, scary, sad, exciting. What you got?
I know. It's been a blur. I would say with survived this podcast stuff, we're doing a lot of things. Yeah. I will say we did 5 days ago. We're getting the end of winter, and I, for the first time, said out loud to someone that I think
I want to keep living.
We survived. Yeah, I think I want to keep going.
No, I think I could do this.
I said out loud, and I even said this, I shouldn't say this, but it's been a remarkably low illness winter, which, and I will just say we got fucked last winter. So we deserved that, but it was my bad. And I know better to say it out loud, because truly 6 hours later, our youngest came down with some vicious virus. Thankfully did not turn into the stomach thing, because Sarah's cannot be around that. And also, it turns out our middle daughter now has this anxiety around people throwing up, which she said that she had hidden for so long, because she seemed like,
bless her heart.
She was a kid who was like, she'd throw up all the time. Everyone's throwing up around her. I was like, you don't care. Like, this is fine for you. And she shares a room with our littlest, who was the one that got sick and had this horrible cough. And at one point did make it seem like her stomach was bothering her. And so, of course, my blood pressure was rising.
Panic.
And she would come in and be like, I just can't. She would like cover her ears. She was like, I'm just scared she's going to throw up. Nobody threw up. Basically, everyone's mostly better.
Yes.
5 days later. But yeah, so that was, of course, these things happen. Of course, at the most inconvenient times, of course. Absolutely. But of course, it could be worse. So yeah, we had illnesses. We've had a lot of work travel. Dear Jason, I know you don't want to be traveling as much. More just a shout out to all forms of couples out there where work travel is a thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something that you can't avoid. And it does. Maybe a shout out to the people in charge that are making this, requiring this to be true. But it's hard.
Yeah.
Because you kind of just like lose, I don't know. I think relationships and families are built in those little inconsequential moments of like,
yes,
I don't know, rolling over and farting at bedtime. You know what I mean? Sorry, that's about our kids, not us. We would never do that.
Not me or Jason, obviously.
No, but like that little the unimportant interaction around dinner, or getting what it's like when they come home and the kids are excited to see that. I don't know, those little things. And of course, there's definitely space for that to not happen. And of course, a lot of people exist in long distance relationships, which I personally, I think would have a really hard time with. But yeah, the travel has been hard. And then obviously that means I'm carrying the parenting load, which is what I'm here for. But it is funny. The kids are like, when dad's away, you get stressed. And I was like,
what would make you say that?
I was like, well, I'm stressed because you're giving me shit about you're not brushing your teeth. It takes me 20 times to ask you to brush your teeth.
I wonder
our
who's
oldest
causing that.
son, who like cannot control his body. I keep walking into the kitchen. He's just like swimming on the floor. I'm like, you are 10 years old. Like, why are we just rolling around on the floor all the time in the kitchen as we're like carrying boiling hot water around to like make dinner? Why would I be stressed? But anyway, I will say I think it's also cool that they've seen me be stressed.
Yeah.
And we do talk openly about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want you to feel my stress. Or I ask them questions. I'm like, what is it that I do that suggests that I am stressed?
Well, when your hair's on fire and you start screaming.
When you're crying and yelling. No, I have held it mostly together.
Dripping from you're like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to hear it.
The other thing that did come out, and Jason, if you're listening, you'll appreciate this too. They were like, well, because for example, because I kind of like, you just have, I'm flexible up to the third ask. And then I'm like, dude, can we just go, Brett? I've asked you now 3 times very nicely. Can we do it now?
Yeah.
And he's like, normally dad would be the one to say that. And now you're the one saying it. And I was like, okay, so it's not which basically alluded to maybe we have a good cop, bad cop, a little bit of a dynamic, which we could explore further.
Nah. It's a him problem, not you.
Exactly. But I do also say I try to make it, we acknowledge that people are traveling. We acknowledge that nobody's happy about that, but also why that's helpful and why he's doing that and why that's helpful for our family and how we're like in this as a team. And like, also we should talk about that. Like we should share that if that's something that is bothering us. Like, let's all, work the problem. This is again, what is hard when people are physically away. It's easy to be alienated.
Yep.
And think, okay, so there's now the unit of us and then there's that person that's away. But just making sure we're all in it together.
But you're doing great. You really are.
You.
You're surviving.
But you're doing amazing, and I think about this all the time. I wish I could bottle up sleep in a pill that wasn't like
not
ADD medication.
but
could just give you a pill that gives you a sense of like, oh, here's 8 hours of sleep in a pill.
Yeah.
That you don't have to actually sleep for 8 hours to experience what it would be like to have 8 hours of sleep. Why don't we do that instead of Ozempic? Yes.
But
have it be those drugs exist like in the military. They use those things.
True.
But I think it's unhealthy to use them on a regular basis.
Should not be used for a common folk.
Yeah.
It's just in day to day.
Because I think then you have a psychotic break and that's also maybe not worth it. But I know.
Yeah.
I know. No. How are maybe there are life updates beyond sleeping, but that is a regular theme in my life when I think about you. And I'm just like,
I love you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, no sleep for sure. I, for a week, thought that I had figured out. Have I talked about my spraying breast milk holy water on the to our followers? Okay. So
this is one story that was shared, and then we were like, we need to bring this to the podcast.
Yeah. So background is that like I think I've figured out that I'm like really superstitious. I did not know this, but I go to a mother's group and we go around and introduce ourselves, whatever, and say like what we're working on or what. It's AA for mothers. And I was like, I literally just can't get him to sleep on his own. Like it's just an impossibility. And this one mom, she said, what I did was I put the baby in the other room and I set up the pack and play. And I now realized that now that I shared and thanked her, she was like, I didn't say that. And I think I took it very intensely. She said, just put a little bit of breast milk, like spray breast milk in the pack and play so that when your baby wakes up, they smell you and it's comforting and whatever. And I guess I heard it as like, douse the room. The room needs to be wet with breast milk. I don't know how. I'm like, I swear you did, but like, okay. And so I started doing that, and for a week, it was amazing. I would walk around the room with my boob, like shaking it, like spraying everything. There were like streaks of breast milk everywhere on him, like whatever. And I was like, it worked. And I was like, holy shit. Like this, literally, holy shit. This is amazing. I don't know how, I don't know why, like whatever. And then one night it just didn't work. And I was like, what if I didn't spray enough breast milk? Like it became like or if I would put him down and then I'd leave and be like, oh my God, I didn't do it. And then I'd have to go back in there like as he's sleeping. And I'm like, ah.
Yes.
So then the next week I was like, oh my God, girl, it worked. And she was like, I mean, I didn't like, that feels kind of crazy, like intense, like just do a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay. But it stopped working. I think he's teething now. So like, that's probably why.
I just loved when I heard this. I imagined you just like, well, first I imagined your kid being like, this is hilarious what mom does for me. Like as entertainment before, like just wandering around like spraying shit. Because I had thought, because babies are dogs, there is this theory of like when you move a dog into a kennel, like take a shirt that you've worn and put that in the kennel or the whatever it is, the cage, kennel.
Yeah.
So they feel comforted by your scent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking with a baby, you could put like a blanket that you've slept on, although obviously
not safe
SIDS,
sleep,
but like something. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But something that is, maybe you wear their onesie
right
on your pinky, but there is, the scent is useful, especially your baby is so attached as any baby would want to be to you.
Right.
But then taking that to the level of, I'm just going to like spray breast milk all over our bed. But it did work. And I totally identify with the superstition of sleep is so real.
Because you're like, if it works, then you're like, I need to exactly replicate this.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh my God. All the time. Like I must
the exact
rub
outfit.
their back like 5 times. They have to wear the same pajamas every night. Yes. They need to, I need to place them down. Also the amount, I still remember how tense, because there's the period of time where you're kind of like, rocking them. You don't want them to fall asleep in your arms, but like get them almost to sleep and then slowly like lowering them into the crib and just like
nope,
how much you're just slowly. Yes. Yeah. And the order of operations, like, I mean, our oldest, you remember this, he's, as we talked about, still, he is who he is. They always, for better and for worse, they never seem to change. But he was one where I would give him the routine that I offered you that we had sort of solidified to kind of like control this beast was so rigid and included a full body massage as part of his bedtime routine, because he was like a sensory and is still like a sensory seeking. Yes, we would put on
body massage.
Yes, some lavender scent on the pillow. We would ding the bells, be like, ding, this is now a sleep zone. And then we would give him a full body massage, and he'd be like wriggling around and like spitting up on everything and like yelling at me. But again, I would be like, this is necessary. We must have routine. He really, I love you. If you ever listen to this, you're a blessing, sometimes in disguise.
My favorite boy, I'll tell you.
Yes. But he really was the one that coached me. And I think because he responded well to it, I was like, structure, which is superstition.
100%.
So yeah, I identify with it. And it is, especially at that young age, the amount of optimization and iterating on every moment, because you're so desperate. You're like, just fucking sleep. Okay, so this sleep sack, this is going to be it. And then the idea is like, you need to give it 2 to 3 days to like settle in and be useful. So but then you're 2 to 3 days is like, that's a year. That's a year. Yes. Yeah. So it's like 12 hours later and you're like, well, it's not working. We got to try something else.
Throw away the whole house. We have to move.
We have to move. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
So I don't know.
So V's holy water
also
works for 10 days.
Nana, if you're listening, we don't pay for like the keeping recordings, but if you do have the video footage out there, we would love to see how insane I look.
I would love a montage of Nanet's videos.
Oh, yeah.
Of the crazy shit that parents do.
Have you seen
to just
them?
Make it work?
Wait, I don't understand how this happened, this viral video. Maybe we could link it. This mom put her baby to sleep, but the baby was already in the crib. So you see her like, she's like half asleep and the baby's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm already.
Oh my God, the shushing too.
Oh Lord.
Yes.
The
and then the fade out shushing. Do you do that?
Oh yeah.
You can't just immediately stop. It's Oh, and then I would also, you'd go from the rubbing of the back to just holding my hand on the back to right above, slowly elevating up.
And then, it's still
and
here.
Then slowly moving away. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. It's wild.
Is that even the mental load? I don't know what that is. That's something else.
That's
we need to talk about
illness. Yeah. I don't know. It's beyond
coping mechanisms.
Yeah, so that was our one thing, and then I do have like a short little story that.
Tell me the story that you really did hold out on me, because
I really
you were like,
did.
Sarah, the funniest thing just happened to me, but I can't tell you. And I was like, no, really? And you were like, no, I have to. And then I was worried you were going to forget it.
No, because instead of telling you, I made a voice note in my car so that I could like remember, memory file, keep this. So, was that last week? Yeah, last week.
It blurs.
I was going to a famous.
Wow, was that last week?
Yeah, it was insane. family doctor, pediatrician birthday celebration.
Famous.
And I
think we could say Newton Wellesley Family Pediatrics because it's a positive.
They are incredible.
Yes. Everyone should go.
Yeah, everyone go.
If you want real human pediatric care, there you go. Yes. They're
honestly,
not a business.
My favorite.
They're a family. They're a medical home.
I drive an hour to go see them because they are chef's kisses.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
So we're traveling for an appointment. Our son was having hives, which turns out was like probably nothing, but whatever. And I was having as I like to coin it, mini munchkin meltdown, which mini munchkins was a class that I used to take your son too.
Oh my gosh.
And then I don't even know how it happened, but mini munchkin meltdown just like sounded funny. And then it was just a thing. And then I just kind of like would say it in my,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm a fucking mammoth and I don't fit in anything. And I just want to like have a pair of jeans that fit or whatever. So I was like, okay, on the way to Newton, we will stop at the mall because that's always a calming place. And I will find clothes that fit.
Yes.
And I go like one store and we're in Free People. And I'm like, somehow, even though also all the clothes are massive, they still didn't fit.
Free People, don't they only, that's not the one size fits all. That's the different one.
That's Brandy Melville.
Yeah. Did they end? No. Did they get canceled?
Unfortunately, they didn't. They're still doing well. Weird.
Ugh. Yeah. Teens out there listening, which are not our listener base, don't shop there. You're better than that.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, maybe I've aged out of Free People, which is like not true, but I was just like trying to find an excuse. So I was like, Madewell, that'll be good.
Yes.
So we go there. I pick out like 37 pairs of jeans and we go in a dressing room. And then my son, who had been constipated for what felt like the entirety of his life, decided that in this small dressing room, he was going to hotbox just shit everywhere. And I'm like, I need to try on a few pairs of jeans. So just sorry, like whatever. So he's grunting, shitting. It smells absolutely vile. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I end up like, I just buy a pair of jeans and a shirt, which ended up not even fitting. So then later I had to drive an hour back to return, but whatever.
No.
And so,
are people around you like smelling this and hearing this?
And then when I went to check out, I was like pretending that I didn't smell it, but like clearly I smelled it. I'm like, and he's like smiling, but also like change me. So then we rush back. Oh, and at this point we are running out of time, obviously, because I've been looking at clothes for an hour to no avail. So we get to the car. And I had just changed him into the rumble seat that kind of like tips back, if y'all know that. Like in the Upper Baby, you can kind of like...
the rumble seat.
It's like instead of him being in a car seat, it's in like a more like, it's almost like a toddler-y seat. Like it's like a regular seat in the stroller.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to recline it all the way and use it as a changing table. I don't know, like, because I was like, I don't know where else I'm going to change him. Like our trunk had stuff in it, whatever.
Oh, I know.
So I get his pants off, start changing his diaper. It is the largest diaper that he has absolutely ever had in his life. And then something happened.
You also are probably being like, yay.
Oh, I was
like
so
relieved.
Happy. Oh, yeah.
When the constipated kid finally poops, no matter what's happening, if it's like plastered over your white couch, you're like, but thank you. This is great.
Yes.
And this sucks, which is classic. But anyway,
also,
keep going.
Yeah. So then something happened. He's like giggling, whatever, and he turns and then rubs all of his shit into like the blue clay seat cover.
Oh no.
He was in. And I was like, that's okay. It sucks, but okay.
Yeah.
So then I'm like cleaning it up. I run out of wipes. And I'm like, okay, no, that's fine. But you are covered in shit. The diaper, I don't know what to do with that, and I need to find more wipes.
Did you use the clothes?
Oh my God, no, but maybe I just should have and thrown away the whole damn thing. I don't know. Like, that would have been a good idea. I find like these like passy wipes that I had in the front seat. He doesn't even use passies, but okay. And I'm like, that's fine, whatever. Triage. I'm just like,
yeah.
And then I have a glob this big of wipes and the diaper. And I'm like, I don't even know where to put this right now.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, there's just so much going on. So I
Yes.
put it on the top of the car so I could just like get a doggy bag that I keep in the car to put whatever. And he's pantsless, like smiling, whatever. Shit everywhere still. The diaper, the wipes. And then a comically huge gust of wind. Just Whoosh. And I was like, no way. I was like, there's literally no wind right now. And then all of a sudden, it's just, and I was like, okay. And it's all over the parking lot. And I'm sorry, I love the environment. But at first I was like, I'm just going to leave it. But then I look up. And of course, there's like multiple people like in their cars walking around. And I was like, well, I have to.
Had the diaper like open, or was it nicely?
Yeah. No. Nothing was contained. So there was 20 wipes with shit,
God.
diarrhea, the diaper open. He's smiling, laughing. And I was like,
and we live in a generous society. So everyone came forward and everyone was picking up one wipe. And they offered you hand gloves, and they were like, Mother, we are here for you.
Got this, girl. And
they like pulled out a phone. They were like, let's see what this bitch does.
I'm sure it is recorded somewhere. I would have recorded if I was not the person it was happening to. So I end up getting all the things, like whatever, get him in a new diaper, get him in the clothes. Actually, I just kept him in a diaper and then put him in the car seat. And I was like, we'll put pants on you later. That's a later problem.
Yeah.
Put the rumble seat in the back of the car and then bagged up all the trash, put it in the trunk. So the car smelled horrible, like whatever. And as I'm like, I'm sweating, there is definitely poop on me, on him, whatever. This like young, attractive man, like, and I was like, and he's like, hey, and I was like, there's no way that you, but of course a little part of me was like, oh, even though I'm like fat and covered in shit, you want to. And he was like, I was like, hi. Like, what is that? He's like, are you interested in going to church on Sunday? And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now. I was like, do I look like I have time to go to church? I was like, no, thank you. And he's like, okay. And they were definitely like,
I got my own holy water, man.
Definitely just like, Jehovah's Witnesses or something coming and like trying to.
Oh my God, know your moment.
Truly read the room. I'm like, do you not see? He was probably like, you need Jesus. He's like, that's why I'm here. I was watching. Yeah, so it was an absolute mess. But he pooped, so that was good. And it was just, and then there's always something with me. Like, I don't know, later we had to stop at CVS because I needed, God knows what. I don't know. I needed something. And I've been listening to this playlist that I sent you, which is the 2000s grocery store shop at whatever.
Yes.
And Pink is on there. And
so
I'm
good.
in CVS. And
by the way, I want Pink on this podcast. Okay, keep going.
Please.
Yes.
I hear like, because I'm a hazard to myself. And I was like, absolutely. And then I realized it's playing in my pocket in my phone. And I was like, this is so fucking embarrassing. I was like, also true though. I'm like, I am. Like, what is happening right now? Anyway, so that's my update.
Oh my God. I had not a music moment of that, but it reminds me, there was one time when I was still at Google and I, was using Waze to get to work and it had somehow not shut off on my phone. And I I couldn't have orchestrated it better. I walked into the cubicle area. It's silent because unfortunately corporate offices, it's a problem. We need like to play background noise because it's just
elevator
not even music,
anything.
Just like, not just like the sound of human activity. Anyways, silence. It goes,
oh no.
You have arrived at your destination.
No.
It was entertainment because I was a known entity at that point. So it wasn't like, who is this girl on her first day of work? But you have arrived.
Good morning. Sarah's here.
But yes, good. I mean, amazing stories. Two pieces that resonated specifically were, well, all of it. But one thing, we were talking about the wipe and we ran out of wipes. The moment when you're like, we have one wipe left.
This might be the best wipe.
And you have to use that wipe to get everything. Like It's almost like when you can peel an orange with one peel and it doesn't break. You know what I mean? It's that kind of
Still
satisfaction.
looks like an orange.
Like, I only got one and we're going to do it.
Yes.
And then also the decision of like, well, we only have one and what are we going to sacrifice? You know?
Pee
Do we
or
use a
poop?
sock? Do we just let that piece of poop sit there on your like right butt cheek for a little bit longer?
Wrap this up.
I know.
It's none of my business, baby.
Yes. And then the other thing it made me remember was just the places kids poop and the places that we let kids poop just out of desperation, because constipation is also a theme in our kids' lives, all of them basically. One middle daughter who now is afraid of vomit, which is great and inherited from me. But she was constipated. We were at an unnamed beach. She finally was like, I gotta go. And I dug a hole in the sand in a somewhat discreet location. I held up a towel. She shat her brains out in this hole. And then I just covered it up, like covered it in sand. And then kind of just was like, nature will take care of
this.
And
you were like, you are magic, I am magic. It was us, girl.
Yes. I was like, because I mean, this is nature on nature. Birds poop on the beach. Like, I don't know. Obviously, sorry. I mean, but there were no wipes involved.
Oh,
I think.
So
I hope.
You're camping.
I'm sure if there must have been wipes, and I'm sure I took them away and put them in a garbage.
I'm sure you did.
Because I'm a nice person.
Yeah, you wouldn't have.
Yeah. But yeah. Magic, that is a good transition maybe to our Lady Ilana.
Yes. What did you think?
Do we want to talk about Ilana Glazer's human magic stand-up?
Which is what we are.
Special. Absolutely. Wait, you have to go first. So did you watch it recently again? Or?
Yeah, so I watched it whenever it came out. I think earlier this year. I think like January, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, like played it in the background yesterday, just so I could refresh myself.
Get back in the zone.
I love that in the opening 5 minutes, I don't even remember how she said the thing that I've been most shocked about is the joy.
The joy. I thought you would love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So, which is so true and great of like, we talk so much about like all of the hard things and because it is so much easier to talk about those hard things a lot of times, but there is so much joy. And so I loved that. Then I was like, this is made for us.
Yes.
And then, I mean, also obviously in the first 5 minutes, she mentioned the like cognitive decline because of lack of sleep. And I'm like, girl, I'm right there with you, honey.
I know. Yeah. And you guys are still performing like aces.
We're doing our best.
Yeah. Ilana Glazer, just for...
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I think she's 37 years old. And there's something, I think the 3.5 year difference between us, I feel like I'm a generation. I just feel like I missed 10 years of life between us. Which is
so funny to me.
Because I was like, Ilana Glazer, who's this person? And everyone's like, oh, Broad City. And I was like, oh, also didn't watch that. But I knew that it was a thing.
Right.
I just feel like there was some acceleration of time between her birth year and my birth year.
I'm ancient.
Yes. But Ilana Glazer has a toddler who's 2-ish. So when Ilana did the stand-up stuff, a lot of it is obviously referencing back to her child.
Yes.
I will say this is not the most important thing, but honestly, so I watched it once and then I watched it a little bit again more recently to like get back in the vibe. The legs. That was really, it took a long...
Ilana's legs?
Ilana's legs. I almost couldn't listen to what was happening. I was just like, because the outfit that Ilana's wearing is all leg.
It is leg.
Yes. And I really was just kind of taken by the outfit at first. So then I will say, I don't know.
Can I tell you, I'm like...
Not that that's the most important element of the stand-up. I know. What does that say about me?
I don't know. But I'm like, and then I'm like, what were they wearing? I don't know.
Did you not notice that Ilana had a third leg? Like that was, no, just kidding.
I was like, wait,
what? Yeah. So anyway, so the legs really took me for a ride for like, I mean, just strong, great fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ilana has also notoriously been working on their fitness.
Oh, I did not know that about
Yeah, it's like
Ilana.
a thing. So.
Oh, well, Ilana, it's working, girl.
We love your legs. Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yeah. So I loved the joy call out right off the bat was great. And again, I do think, I mean, the world of comedy, this existential reflections on a comedy show, but I was kind of thinking, what is funny, and
sure.
Things that are happy and nice. It's hard to make those funny. Sort of funny sits in kind of starts from a sort of point of tension, complaining, and then ends up in a nice place. So to come right out off the bat and be like, actually, this has been really joyful, is like a harder thing to make funny.
Yeah.
But she was happy to put it out there in the beginning. And I think it's useful because parenting is exhausting and miserable and blah, blah, blah. But it is also, there is joyful. A reason people do it again.
Yes. Turns out.
So yeah. I also thought that the cognitive decline piece was really funny to me.
Oh yeah.
I wanted more. I mean, she loves, this is again where I'm like, am I just older? There was something where I was like, the raunchiness, I wanted it to like grow up a little bit. There was something a little bit kiddie about, and I don't know. I think it also depends on what headspace you're in when you're like consuming comedy.
Sure, 100%.
I think I was I am solo parenting at home. I need grown-ups to be grown-ups kind of feeling. So I think that was probably why I had a stronger response to like anytime they tried to do something or have a point of view that was real or get into something meaningful and real.
Yeah.
They just went back to like a dick joke or a guy suck kind of thing. And I'm like, can we go a little bit far? They made some comment reflecting about how awesome it is that Ilana could be, that they could be there. But she says, quote, to herself, how are you allowed to take up this space for an hour? The queer Jewy woman that you are, which is something so real. But then she turned it to like, well, it's because I have a mic in my hand and it looks like a dick. I was like,
who designed this? Am I right?
Can we take it like a little, like, is there a half comment more that doesn't answer it with
make a political statement, please?
But obviously Ilana does, she's out there saying real stuff.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this in the promotion of this podcast, how hard it is to be out there saying anything true without it being offensive or being seen as uninformed or not inclusive. I would think it's worth saying out loud. When we talk about the point of this podcast, as we promote it, often I was thinking about, okay, we're talking about, badass women as they reflect on their life through the lens of motherhood. And then I'm like, is it women? Does it have to be women? And I think the answer is no. And then it goes back to a grammatical issue where I'm like, the mothers is about talking to badass mothers as they reflect on the life of motherhood. And I'm like, okay, well, now we're saying mother like 3 times. But worth going back. Worth going back to, I don't know. So it's things like that. I think it's just so this is the right thing to be doing. But just to acknowledge that it is it's somewhat, it's not entirely symbolic of a broader thing, but how do we say something that's true and shares a perspective that isn't inflammatory to someone that doesn't immediately agree with that perspective? And even on this, as we were reflecting back on the podcast, the interviews that we've done so far, how many times is everyone like, I'm going to get skewered for saying this, or I can't say this, I shouldn't say this, I'm going to say this, but I apologize, or so many caveats, especially around the idea of mothers who are working outside of the home and kind of just acknowledging that sometimes that's a choice, sometimes it's not a choice, but also being able to talk about the fact that I think the hedging came a lot when people were like, but I also feel like I need something else. Yeah. But also, how do I say that without implying that mothering alone isn't enough for me? And what would it mean if that was true? And I just think it's so, the world cannot possibly embrace, I don't know what that there's a full experience on either side, that one perspective doesn't inherently mean that the alternative is wrong or worthless, I think. Yes. Anyway, so Ilana, great job being out there. And she has a lot of followers. Like it's not easy to be out there making a statement, especially in writing on Instagram, and beyond Instagram. But so I admire anyone that's up there trying to share their perspective, because we need to know these perspectives and we need to be able to respond and like embrace them and be curious about them. But and also you need to be able to share perspectives in a way that's interesting and engaging to people, which often involves saying something that's a little more edgy. So it's tricky. I'm stating what everyone has already said, but it's hard to say anything real right now. Yeah. In public, especially in front of people. So yeah.
I do love the segment of Ilana talks about their husband who has like a PhD and can talk about like,
oh my God, yes,
biophysics, like whatever.
Yes.
But he still can't buy a shirt. And that, like,
Yes.
and how like she still has to be the one to
Yes.
do. And I love the way that it's like, no. Like, you carry your weight, you pull your, you do your job, and you're an incredible partner and dad and whatever. Like, she doesn't shit on him as a human, but then it's like, and you can't even do this though.
Totally.
Like, how does that?
Totally.
And I love that.
Yes.
Like, talking about those things where it's like, no, you are so smart and amazing and a great parent and partner, whatever. And then what?
Yeah. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. You know what it is? And this is about me, and to anyone listening, this is whatever my opinion is. It's here for you to critique, embrace, whatever, reflect on.
And
it doesn't make it real. It doesn't mean it's real.
Yeah.
I think what was hard for her style of comedy, which their style of comedy, which doesn't necessarily mean like there's versions for everybody. I think for me, I will laugh at those things that are sort of the classic put down of a guy in a scenario. But for me to feel like I want to laugh at that, I first need to be bought in that you, the person delivering that message, is like a thoughtful, reflective, understands the nuance person. And then it can be funny to make the dick joke. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
For me, if you just come in straight at dick jokes, men suck, bazungas, sex, then when you keep talking about that later, I'm like, okay, this is a continuation of that. But I find it very funny when the person who is otherwise not delivering those lines all the time.
Yeah.
And you are someone who sees the world not only in those ways, then those lines of like saying something extremely insightful, like the anecdotal observation, and then being like, well, it's just because he's a man or something. That's more funny to me. I think that's what I want to consume more of Ilana's stuff, because I think again, I hadn't, amazingly, Ilana has like 1.5 million followers on Instagram, and I was like, I don't know you by name, and I was like, where have I been?
What? Yeah. Ilana's incredibly, so it's interesting. I think which also this is good to know, and just like a good thing to be aware of, like, she is very intelligent.
I'm
and
sure.
Like outspoken about a lot of things. And so based on that, I'm like, oh, that's what this was for me.
Right. And
but
that's
if you
so
don't
interesting.
Know that, then that's very interesting.
Yes. Yeah. How are we, when you go to a comedy show, when does the comedian assume that you have an assumption about them?
Right.
Or an existing understanding about them that allows their comedy to be, because I think the funny jokes are the unexpected. You think we think you're leading us there, but I'm actually leading you here.
Not like for the Airbnb brazzers. Did you see that coming?
No, true. But I also I was like, what is brazzers? What was it? I have to look it up.
No, don't look it up.
See, this is where I'm like, am I just antiquated?
Am I old?
Probably. That's where it all comes around.
For the audience who has not seen the special, she rents this Airbnb for her family. She has this toddler now, whatever, and she's looking around. She's like, oh, the decoration, like whatever. The long story short is, I don't remember, why does she take the Marilyn Monroe painting off the wall? But she does, or like maybe it's not Marilyn. She takes a painting off a wall, and there's a Brazzers like bumper sticker under, and realizing that she had booked a porn shooting like home.
Oh, yes.
To stay in with her family.
I forgot about that.
Brazzers is a porn site. So
there we go. Okay. Maybe I won't Google it.
Yeah, you don't need to. What is a Brazzers? Aw, Sarah.
Oh, wait, is it like, okay, I'm not going to say anything more.
Yeah, no, you know.
Never mind.
What it is. So that was unexpected for me.
Yes.
I was like, girl.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, it was good. My biggest takeaway, though, like, besides all the funny stuff, obviously, I thought it was very silly and easy. Also, the perfect amount of time, like less than an hour. I could do that during a nap, whatever.
Yes.
Was the moment that she gave birth, and she like looked at her 100%. Daughter,
yes,
and was like, holy fucking shit, you are magic, I am magic, we are magic, this was us, and like looked at her husband and was like, you just witnessed magic. And
You are
I
so
was
lucky.
like, yeah, you are so lucky. And I was like,
100%. That was one of the best lines of the whole thing.
It was the best thing ever.
I totally agree.
And I want to bottle that up and tell that to everybody, like, because that was one of the things I remember saying post birth, where I was like, I'm magical. I cannot believe that the floor that I walk on does not light up, that I'm like, I'm made of gold and magic.
Yes.
So I just really love that line.
I totally agree. And there is an overlap with her and Jenny Slate. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're like cousins or something. I mean, literally not cousins. No. But like the way that they kind of dabble in similar spaces, but slightly differently. So yeah, I feel like that human magic and Jenny Slate's book name.
Life form.
Yeah. I feel like they want to talk about things in a similar quirky way. And obviously Jenny Slate gets in like wildly raunchy, sexy sex things too. Sexy sex things. Wow. Am I getting hives? Am I talking about sex? Like, what's happening?
Sweating? I don't know what's happening. What's the
brasserie? I think I deeply admire, and I found it all funny. And I think honestly, when I was having the reaction, I was like, what is it? Why am I not loving this as much as I
thought?
Obviously many people do. And I just think it is interesting that there obviously are different like comedy, different people have their different preferences.
So like, yeah, exactly. It's so not circumstantial. I'm having cognitive decline because of my sleep. Everyone has their own taste in comedy.
Correct.
Whatever.
Yes.
You know.
And here was something that I also was thinking about. We touched on it a little bit, but the nature of how comedy, because one of the things that in creating this podcast was the ways that mothers are kind of able to voice their experience, or the way that their experience is funneled to the public is through these channels of, we're going to talk about parenting, or we're going to talk about hacking corporate America, or we're going to talk about, quote, wellness and fitness, or we're going to talk about like the comedy of it all and make it funny. And which I do think there's value in the comedy of it, but there is a part of it that makes it seem like laughable and fun. And are we really like landing the point? But it just, as I was watching this, I was just thinking about like the role that comedy plays in helping people express the thing that is otherwise almost too intense to be able to share.
100%.
And what are the things that mothers only feel like they can say, or only feel like people can hear if it's made funny, if it's wrapped up in a funny bow? And and is that, what are the themes? Because I was
that's art, baby, though.
Yeah,
like all theater and music and everything. It's like, if it's too heavy, how else can I make it approachable and consumable?
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
totally.
Because no one loves just talking about heavy stuff, except for like maybe me. But
and I also imagine like over the arc of those themes, the thing that is sort of too heavy to talk about, so therefore we rely on comedy, becomes more mainstream. And then you have to find what's the next thing. Like I think this idea of Ilana talking about even how her baby was breech, which is,
I know,
have been there, and thank God it flipped. But, and she's like talking about like basically being fingered in order to like swirl this thing around. Yes. That's obviously something that like in the 50s, first there was like one female comedian anyway, but like now what's the next? I'm curious, like what's the next theme? There should be a course about this. We watch 6 different stand-up routines that are about essentially the motherhood experience. Like, what is Amy Schumer saying? What is Ali Wong saying? What is Ilana Glazer saying? What is Jenny Slate saying? Like, what are the themes of, I just found the Rosebud, what a name.
Rosebud
something. The Mother Load.
Yes.
Watch that, which was very funny. Like, what are the things, the typical themes are the unhelpful dad.
Yeah.
The worthless guy who does nothing, and but with love, but like does nothing.
Not our case.
And then exactly. And then the what is it? Like, well, there's the physical, the body changes, like boobs getting crazy big.
Right.
I am a teen boy's dream now. And then there's the insanity of delivery. And then there's probably something around breastfeeding, and opinions around breastfeeding. And if I didn't breastfeed, everyone has an opinion about that. I think a little bit of identity.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? I think all of them do allude to this, like how much they actually love this kid.
100%.
Like that's the
ultimately
grounded non-joke. They can't even make a joke out of that in some ways, which is when you know it's true. Yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking about what does it mean that these are the themes?
Yeah.
And have they always been the themes? So I don't know. I think comedy is magic, and I really love being in places where everyone can finally laugh to the point of communicating anything real. The last comedy show I went to, man, I'm having cognitive decline. Jim Gaffigan.
Yes.
Fucking funny. I love
He's great.
Live performances of any sort or just magic. Talk about magic. But what it felt like to be in a room of people all laughing at the same thing.
Laughing is the best.
It really, it made me, my insides swelled up and felt like, and I was kind of like, we're all going to be okay, right? Yes.
It's like healing.
Yes.
I know.
Concerts are similar, but you're not in the same way, like responding, I think.
Yes.
You're dancing, but you're not. Yeah, there's something about the fact that you are offering some vocal response to whatever's happening. But as a group, that's really funny. And also that people will laugh at the thing that's inappropriate. I think that's the part that's great. Which is in this world of like walking on eggshells of like, we can't possibly say the thing because we might say it wrong. Where like someone finally says the thing and you can laugh at it. It's like, great. It gives me like faith.
Yes.
Yeah. Aww. So anyway, Ilana, keep fighting the good fight.
We love you.
I've got to go back and watch Broad City.
Yes, please do. I would be very curious to hear your thoughts.
Yes. And I don't know, any mother out there bringing voice or putting voice to these things and helping people, finding the way to help people receive the information, whether it's making them laugh at it or cry about it or sit with it silently. Like that's useful. Like people need to know. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you for bringing it to my world to help me become a better me. Just like Night Bitch.
Brazzers.
Yeah. Yes. Do we want to talk about...
Do we do our joyfulness?
Joyfulness. Wait, quick transition. I was going to say we could do our Fresca moment. I will say I know Fresca's like banging on our door.
They've reached out to us.
Have you explored sugar-free ginger ale? Because it also kind of hits the same need. It's similar but different. Fresca I love, but I will love Fresca forever. There's a little bit of the fake sugar sense. Like it's a diet soda.
Yes.
With the sugar-free ginger ale, which we found everything goes back to poop. Where did you get this? We got it CVS. We got it because I didn't mean to say that in a duh way. No, I was more just like surprised CVS. But we got it because our little one is constipated and that actually is a useful thing for her to drink Miralax with. Oh. And it's also not just pure sugar juice. Yeah. But anyway, so we have like cans, like many cans of it.
Anyway, so we have 47
cans. It actually is a little bit close. I don't get the fake Splenda taste. I get this is ginger ale without sugar taste.
I'll have to try.
Yeah. So we have, we're stocked up. So
we'll taste and we'll discuss next.
Yes. And then we'll give Fresca some feedback if they need it.
Perfect.
Okay. But anyways, joyfulness.
Yeah. Where's your joyfulness?
What day is today? It's a Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
So we're halfway through the week, at least.
We're halfway.
Oh, here's my joy. This is to the truest form of insisting on joy, something that's for yourself. Jason and I are going to a concert tomorrow night. We're going to go see Arizona.
Yes.
So good. Moody Judy is opening.
So fun.
It's going to be...
Where?
So good. Everyone's the perfect question. I can never remember. It's downtown Boston. I don't know.
Love. Are they not... I thought they were done touring.
This is the end.
Is this their final?
Yes.
Oh, that is going to be so nice. Yes. I love that for you.
Yeah. Really, really good. I'm so excited.
Nice.
So excited. Yes.
Yay.
Yes. It'll be a great time. And Jason will be back and we'll do it together. It'll be fun. It'll be so
I
good.
love this for you.
And no one's going to be sick. So we can
No, you're not. Or they're not. But also you too won't be sick.
Yes. Where's your joy, lady?
Well, I'm excited. My joy is that my dad is going to come this weekend, which is going to be really nice because it's like the whole reason why we decided to be back in a place that's closer
Yeah.
to family is because then we get to share like exciting, quick, short weekends with people in our family that we care about. And getting to do that, we've had Nana visiting last week, my dad this week, and having some friends come to town in a couple weeks. And it's just been exciting to be able to like share our space and also do it in a way that's not like all encompassing. Like, you know, when you live far away, people come for like a whole week and it becomes a whole thing. And getting to share quick, exciting, fun weekends together feels good.
Yes.
So that's where we're at.
The like casual connect.
It's so much more casual.
That is coming to see
feels
someone
low,
around the holiday.
Low stakes and just kind of like we could just hang. There's no pressure.
Yes.
So I like that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, family. Source of joy, mostly.
You know him, you love him, you hate him a little too.
Yes. Well, I hope you get sleep while that happens.
Thank you.
Wow, has my hair been doing this thing this whole time?
I think it just fell.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode and we can reach even more rock stars like you. The Mothers is a production of Backline Media, shining a light on those who carry the team.